It's time to step onto the neon-lit streets of Los Angeles to examine a film that redefined the crime thriller genre, Michael Mann's Collateral. This masterpiece not only captivates with its gripping narrative and stunning visuals, but also leaves a long-lasting impact with its discussion on the complexities of human connection and morality. Trust me, once you've watched Collateral, you'll be thinking about it for a long time afterward. The movie follows Max Durocher, a hard-working Los Angeles cab driver played by Foxx, who dreams of starting his own limousine business. One night he picks up a mysterious passenger named Vincent, played by Tom Cruise. Soon enough, Max discovers that Vincent is a hitman on a mission to eliminate 5 targets in one night. As Vincent forces Max to drive him around the city, the two men engage in tense conversations that reveal their contrasting worldviews. Ultimately, Max must confront his fears and take a stand against Vincent in a bid to escape his dangerous game. Running throughout Collateral is that familiar Michael Mann feeling of the city being alive and bearing down on the characters. However, the weight of it all is not the fact that the city is too active, but the idea that despite how huge it is, isolation and loneliness are inescapable. Thousands of people are around, lights, cars, action, but the film drives home the message that counterintuitively, the busier a city is, the more alienated and alone you can feel within it. A lot of the film obviously takes place in the taxi cab, and it's a really effective way of depicting these men as separate from everyone else. They have their own world they've created inside this car, and it reminds you of the fact that ultimately a big city is just small different worlds within one huge space, so everyone feels cut off and isolated. I really love films like this where we focus not on an ensemble but 2 people stuck in a pressure cooker situation, and you never know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. You're just witnessing human nature react to unfamiliar territory. The film discusses the fleeting nature of time, the essence of meaning, and the value of human life. Vincent gives some truly chilling speeches about why what he's doing doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And these words chill Max to the bone. He just cannot handle it. Tom Cruise delivers them in such a believable way. It's his most cold-blooded performance of all time.
6 billion people on the planet, you're getting bent out of shape because of one fat guy.
Well, who was he?
Have you ever heard of Rwanda?
Yes, I know Rwanda.
Well, tens of thousands killed before sundown. Nobody's killed people that fast since Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Did you bat an eye, Max? Did you join Amnesty International, Oxfam, Save the Whale, Greenpeace or something? No. I offer one fat Angelino and you throw a hissy fit.
You really do get the feeling that Vincent has convinced himself over time that the human lives he takes are just ultimately insignificant. It's a transformative role for Tom Cruise. Putting these 2 men together is a clash of 2 completely different people, and Max was not remotely ready to be inserted into Vincent's world. But to Vincent, this is just a normal night at work. Foxx does so well at conveying a regular everyday person's reaction to this madness, because this is not normal whatsoever. While Vincent is stoic and cool, Max is rapidly falling apart, and the relationship is so unpredictable you never know if in the next moment Max is going to snap, and there are times when he obviously does. The character of Vincent reminded me of the character of Neil in Mann's other masterpiece Heat. The idea of extreme discipline being needed to live a life like he does. However, this time he's a hitman, not a thief, so it adds an extra added dimension of darkness. And we see that not only does he have to be disciplined, but he also has to engage with and rationalise some pretty nihilistic ideas. And it's scary how much Vincent can make sense at times. He's obviously spent years building up these defence mechanisms for how he lives, and that's why it comes across as almost logical in moments. He represents where we would all end up if we just admitted the cold, sad truth that no one would really miss someone in this big city.
Millions of galaxies of hundreds of millions of stars and a speck on one in a blink. That's us, lost in space. A cop, you, me. Who notices?
In these 2 men we have a calculated individual who has given up on human life and sees murder as transactional, and we have a regular person who has a good heart and would never hurt anyone on purpose. One of the very best scenes in the film is where Max decides to give Vincent a taste of his own medicine. After Vincent has started laying into him, Max starts speeding down the street recklessly, asking Vincent why it suddenly matters to him if they both die. It's an incredibly tense and powerful moment. There's also the scene where Max throws Vincent's briefcase off a bridge, again showing his complete defiance to what he's doing. The thing is, every time Max stands up to Vincent in some way, it comes back to haunt him, as in this occasion Vincent forces Max to go and visit his bosses and claim to be him to get the information again. This is a spectacular acting scene for Jamie Foxx as he manages to convince the boss and even stand up to him. This is one of several moments where Max behaves out of character, and again, Collateral is all about the uncertainty of how you'd react as a regular person in a completely alien situation until you are suddenly in it. You might discover things about yourself and realise you are capable of actions and reactions you never imagined you could be, and Jamie Foxx perfectly captures the pure confusion and jarring feeling of going through that. Vincent several times berates Max for still being a taxi driver despite him having plans to open his own business. We sympathise with Max because he represents the regular working man who may have other aspirations, but life and a regular job has got in the way. Vincent uses what he is doing, obviously unfairly, to show Max we have limited time on this planet and it can all end at any time. So why isn't he fulfilling his potential? However, we do get the impression that Michael Mann isn't necessarily doing what a lot of filmmakers do, which is condemn the character of Max for not reaching their potential. Instead, there's a lot of understanding in Collateral about the working class life and the everyman. It is sometimes not as easy as it's made out to be for people to just change their lives. Don't get me wrong, the film doesn't strip all responsibility from Max. He probably should get his arse in gear if he wants to do something else, but it's rich for Vincent to sit there and judge. Yes, he may have money and he doesn't have to work a job, but ultimately Max has what Vincent lost a long time ago, and that's a heart. This role was also a physical transformation for Tom Cruise. He's one of those actors that some struggle to see the character and not just him. That's not the case here at all. At all. He does not feel like Tom Cruise, and of course that's down to the stunning performance, but also the physical look of the character. Vincent just looks like he's got this demon inside of him. I think the grey hair really adds to that. It matches the coldness of the character and his icy vibe. And then there's the grey suit and white shirt. There's no colour to him whatsoever and it makes him so intimidating. It's a very memorable look and it just stands out from what Tom Cruise had done in the past. Vincent is so unique. As I mentioned, the film is visually stunning. Michael Mann's films always feel so big time. The stakes are always so powerful when everything is on the line. Mann's choice of a cool colour palette dominated by blues and greens for me enhances the film's themes of alienation and loneliness. The neon lights of the city and the looming long shadows of the streets create such a powerful mood, and the interplay of light and dark reflects the internal struggles of the two main characters. The camera work is of course fantastic, and even just the simple close-ups of Max and Vincent show the contrast between them. I love the shots when we see Max's emotional state and how much he is on edge, and then in the background Vincent is just sitting there seriously, keeping an eye on him. The devil on his shoulder, so to speak. Another scene I want to talk about is when some thugs steal Vincent's briefcase from Max when Vincent leaves the car for a few minutes. I think they've got away with it, and then Vincent just emerges from the shadows looking ice cold. He then demonstrates his killer instinct and capabilities by quickly outwitting and shooting both thugs and getting his briefcase back. Not only is this moment cool as hell, but it also emphasises to Max, who saw it all from the car, how dangerous he is and how messing with him is a huge risk. Michael Mann delivers it brilliantly. He shoots it from behind in one long shot which depicts Vincent as a force of nature. The scene is big time, serious, cold and uncompromising. He doesn't have to use multiple shots to make this scene great. It's minimal but so powerful, so much better than the shaky cam obsessive editing that takes place in a lot of films of the genre. I also love the scene when Vincent takes Max to a jazz club to find one of his targets. This is just so stone cold and tense. Michael Mann is incredible at shooting back and forths like this. It reminded me of the cafe scene in Heat. The characters are just sitting there talking and it's like the world comes to a stop around them. It just suddenly feels so quiet and everything stops so you can cut the tension with a knife. Michael Mann places the camera first behind Vincent's shoulder and then behind his targets. This serves to create an intimate and intense atmosphere. You're right there watching this confrontation. And the scene becomes a ticking time bomb as Vincent quizzes this man on his jazz knowledge. And then of course we cut back to Max also, and of course he knows what's likely going to happen, so he's just sitting there going through quiet but horrible anxiety.
How's this? I'll ask a question.
What question?
Jazz question. Now you get it right, we roll. You disappear tonight.
These two men hold a mirror up to each other, and that's what it's all about. Max frustrates Vincent by taking moral issue, obviously, of what he's doing, And Vincent also gets at Max personally, questioning his ambition and future from a very unqualified moral place obviously, but nevertheless these men push each other's buttons and know which ones to press, and that comes from their separate life experience. Michael Mann is a genius because he did this sort of thing in Heat with De Niro and Pacino. Those characters understood each other but came from different places and pushed each other's barriers and buttons, and that's exactly what he does. He repeats that formula in Collateral but just takes it to new, unique levels. The film gets more and more intense, and the culmination becomes far more action focused as the men leave the car and face each other on the subway train. It's a crazy sequence which ends with a stunning image, but I won't spoil it for you, because if you haven't seen Collateral, what are you doing? This film is essential. Collateral is one of the best films of the 2000s, and it might be Michael Mann's best, and that's saying a lot because Michael Mann, for my money, is one of the greatest directors of all time, and I think Heat is one of the best films ever made, but Collateral might be better. It might actually be better. Let me know what you think of Collateral in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I talk about cult and classic films all the time on this channel. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you guys next time.